My friend Nick Wright, First Things First with Chris Carter. Jenna Wolfe debuts Tuesday. I have never been this excited about a new show on any network I've worked about. Nick, you've worked your tail off. I'm all fired up, and I see what you want to talk about, and I think I disagree with everything. So my takeaway this morning, everything. Literally, we disagree on everything. So my takeaway this morning was there was a strict parent in every neighborhood. There was no memo. You always knew, though, don't go to the Gallagher's house. If you're going to smoke weed or drink, don't do it at their house. They're the strict parents. There was a strict teacher in every school. Mrs. Swanson, you didn't chew gum or talk in her class. She'd put you out in the principal's office. Roger Goodell is the strict commissioner, and the players have given him unilateral strength. I don't always agree with it, but we know now, like the parent or the teacher, don't go where you shouldn't go. Don't do what you shouldn't do. Couldn't I just say, Zeke, you knew what you were entering. Roger Goodell 3 years ago turned into the conduct commissioner.
Colin, I don't disagree with that part of it. And I'm not exonerating Ezekiel Elliott. I'm not even attacking Roger Goodell. But just because you have access to the power doesn't mean you should use the power. And the question the NFL should ask itself today or a year ago is, why do we want to have a personal conduct policy? We are a football league. Why should there be all of a sudden 4 branches of judicial affairs? You have your local police, your state police, your federal agents, and oh yeah, the NFL. It is, at this point, it's more trouble than it's worth. I have not seen any reason to believe it is actually deterring players from committing these acts. And I just don't know. This is going to sound awful states' rights of me, but I don't know why you can't leave it up to the teams. If the Cowboys want the policy to be, if you make bail by noon Sunday, come play with us. And if the Kansas City Chiefs want the policy to be, if you have even a hint, a whisper of impropriety, you have to prove yourself innocent or we're cutting you. Why can't we just let each individual team decide what their policy is?
Okay.
Then we don't have appeals. Then we don't have any of this.
Okay, so the guy that founded Subway sandwiches, using your belief system, why can't every Subway sandwiches just make it up as they go? One store has French dips only. One has, because there's a feeling in the NFL.
No.
Go ahead.
Colin, no. But the Subway Subway can make the decision. But what can't happen is the overarching, Interstate Food Commission can't come in and say this is the deal. Like if you or I were accused of a crime, Fox as a company would have to make the decision, are we standing by the person or not? What wouldn't happen is the FCC come in and say, Cowherd, you're off for a month. And that's how I look at this. You can leave it up. I look at each team as an individual entity. It sounds like you're saying the NFL as a whole is the individual entity, and that appears to be the disconnect here, possibly.
Well, what I'm saying is, because they're the #1 TV show on 5 networks, they have upped the ante on their conduct policy, once after the Make It Rain Pac-Man stuff at the NBA All-Star Game, and then after Ray Rice. In both instances, they got more severe with conduct. And they put in words like responsibility and integrity and, kind of these morals, nebulous morals clauses, which mean different things to different people. But I think, by the way, the owners, what's ironic is Jerry Jones agreed to that, yet Jerry Jones is now mad. I guess my takeaway is this. Television changes everything. The law doesn't have to deal with advertisers. Law doesn't have to deal with the FCC. Police doesn't have to deal with advertisers. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel... And here's the other thing. If you left it to teams, could I not argue this? That what would happen. You can't trust billionaires. That's my rule in the world. You can't trust billionaires.
I agree, but hold on. But the thing is this. The one thing you can trust billionaires to do is respect the bottom line. And if what happened is they let guys get accused of crimes, they let them play, and all of a sudden fans cared enough that they stopped going or stopped supporting, then the billionaires would correct the behavior. What I feel like we are in a situation where, as awful as this sounds, is the fans don't actually care. The conduct policy doesn't actually deter any crime. And at some point you have to ask yourself, why do we have this in place? If the fans aren't asking for it, And if it's not actually making anyone safer, what are we accomplishing here? I agree with you that everyone agreed to it, and Goodell can do what he wants. And by the way, I don't believe they got the Ezekiel Elliott thing wrong necessarily. I think they haven't necessarily handled it perfectly, but I don't know that I am one of these people out there saying Ezekiel Elliott should have no games. This whole thing, I've talked with Chris about this too much to have that opinion. I just don't know at this point if the personal conduct policy has been worth it being a story every single offseason.
Yeah. Let's shift to Andrew Luck. We called it almost a hostage situation. I'm not sure if he's eating, if he's throwing, if he's safe. They won't say anything. The coach says, I've never seen him throw. I'm like, I hope he's maintaining a life at this point. Jim Irsay comes out yesterday and has a kind of a statement on it. You didn't like what Jim Irsay said yesterday.
Colin, I know this will shock you, and I wish I was in Los Angeles so we could grasp hands when I do this, but I'm going to defend Andrew Luck.
Oh, my God.
Listen, what Jim Irsay has done here is unspeakably unfair. I have my criticisms of Luck. I think he's slightly, if not drastically, overrated by members of the media, most notably the person that's on noon to 3 Eastern on FS1. I think Andrew Luck is not the best of the young quarterbacks in football. Those are on-the-field criticisms. But what no one can question Andrew Luck is his toughness. Since he's come into the league, no quarterback has been hit more than he has. The 1 year he missed significant time, he had a lacerated kidney.
Yeah.
Kidney's one of the organs you gotta have. Lacerated spleen, you'll deal with it. Appendix, throw it away. Kidney's an important one. Lacerated. He came back the next year. And Jim Irsay is out here saying it's mental, not physical. Not only is it unfair to Luck, it's unfair if you're a fan of the Colts, because if I know Andrew Luck at all as far as what his mentality is, this could encourage him to come back sooner than his body wants him to.
Great point.
And that's going to make it even harder for him to become the quarterback that you've already told America he is.
Okay, and finally, Nick Wright, his show is First Things First, debuts Tuesday, 6:30. Chris Carter, Nick, and Jenna Wolf. Cannot wait to watch it. Okay. I cannot believe, I read that you believe this, and you're the one that said something to me, and I don't even know when you said this. You said this about a year ago, and I really went home and I thought about it, and you said, Colin, you make too much about defense, that the NBA is about 75% offense, and it's about 25% defense. That's why Mark Gasol and Tony Allen are not, Anthony Davis, Kyrie. So you're
MVPs.
Yes, right. That's right. And you're right. And I went home and I'm like, he makes a good point. You can't hand check. Nobody can stop anybody. So my argument is penmanship used to matter, handwriting until the iPhone and the internet. Now it doesn't. We all text, right? Cultural changes. That defense used to matter. Then 10 years ago, the NBA said, 12 years ago, no hand check. Nobody can stop anybody now. So the criticism of Kyrie that he doesn't play defense, if you can just turn a guy from a left hand to the right, Chris Paul does that, that's considered great defense. Nobody can stop anybody at point guard. Why do you not believe Kyrie Irving is a franchise player? He's offensively the best closer in the game.
Offensively, he's certainly one of the best closers in the game. And you're right. What I said was individual perimeter defense is wildly overrated in the NBA. The defense that matters is team defense, or if you have a true rim protector, which is why when guys kill Harden or Westbrook or Kyrie for not being great individual perimeter defenders, I don't really care about that. What I do care about is this. Kyrie Irving, and forget the first 3 years of his career, we can throw those out. Kyrie Irving, the last 3 years, has had 30-some-odd opportunities to play in games where he's the best player and Kevin Love, an all-star, is the second best player. And his team, when LeBron's not out there, wins less than 30% of those games. Kyrie Irving is a splendid, amazing to watch offensive player. I do not know that I have any evidence to support the idea that the way Kyrie plays offensively, if he's the best player on your team, that it leads to wins. When in games that LeBron plays, in the minutes he rests, when Kyrie's on the court, which, by the way, if LeBron's resting, the other team's best player is probably resting as well. The Cavs were outscored by 6+ points per 100 possessions. Kyrie Irving just finished year 6. He has never been a part of a winning team for a season, a 2-week stretch, or a 4-minute window without LeBron James next to him. So I think Kyrie's amazing to watch. I think he's about the 14th best player in the NBA. There aren't 13 superstars, so he ain't a superstar.
Well, Anthony Davis can't make the playoffs, and Jimmy Butler wasn't very good mostly by himself. So I would say if you take LeBron out, that applies to virtually anybody. But I'm out of time, and you're going to have nothing but time Tuesday. First things first, 6:30, Chris Carter, Nick Wright, Jenna Wolf. Put it up there one more time, guys. Nick, I cannot wait. Have a tremendous last weekend without stress, because starting Tuesday, your life will change, and you're going to have to talk all day long.
Colin, you know this. None of this is possible without you and what you've done for me personally. I'll forever be grateful. Thank you once again for sharing the platform. Love you, bro.